All right, guys, how's it going? It's the 14th, it's Wednesday. Right now, I'm sitting down about $386 on the day, 384. It looks like I got the title a bit wrong there. Usually I try to get it to the dollar. Save that, change that. So down 384. For most of the day, it was kind of a battle to stay green, but it just didn't work out. And I'm okay. Down 384. It's not the worst day I've ever had, not even close. And it's a minor setback on the road to recovery from that big drawdown a couple Thursdays ago. We'll try to fight it back tomorrow. I'll go through the trades here today. My first trade today was, I believe, on Plug Power, which isn't showing up here because I have an active position on this today. I have those options that I bought yesterday, and right now those are not looking good because of the market taking a pretty big hit today. Plug finished down 3% despite gapping up. I was up on my options contracts a lot this morning, but by the end of the day, I'm just way down on them now. So that's kind of a bummer, and those are expiring very shortly. So probably just take the max loss on that, which I didn't put a lot of risk on anyway. But anyway, so let's talk about this trade. It looks like my trades aren't showing up. Here we go. So I had a dip trade on this, 500 shares, took some profit off, but was looking for that next high, and we didn't get that. Stopped out on it as it was coming down here. So this was a green trade, but then I gave it back here, 300 shares, then stopped out on this, which was a mistake, as I literally stopped out at the exact low right here, 29.48. As it came down below 50, I stepped my stop below 29.50, and it just wicked me out, and then back up to $30. So frustrating there, and that was the only two trades I had on Plug. So finishing up $20 on it. All right, so next I bought Neo. I had this trade on Neo where it looks like actually this was my first trade. Yeah, so this was actually my first trade today. I bought a dip on Neo right off the open and was looking for that move up through VWAP, but luckily I stopped out of this one as it came down to make a new low. Just stopped out of it, took the hit on it. Very small loss there. My next trade was looking at this wow, this is just so extended, and if the NASDAQ turns around, I want to catch a bounce on this. My entry on this was a little early. It did come down here to 37.30. So I was down 30 cents, and I took a 1,000 share position here. So this was very bold. Probably should have stepped into this. It's not really wise to just jump into a full-size position when the stock is clearly showing that it's moving down, not up. But what I was looking for was kind of somewhat of a bounce, which we got. So I was just patient with it, and then took some profit here. But then it actually came all the way back down, made a new low. Chopped around for a bit, and finally we got kind of that bigger move I was looking for up to the high side here, and then I was taking profit. As it came down through VWAP here, I said I'm not going to let this one go against me. I'm just going to get out if it crashes below this low right here. So it came down here, looked like it was trying to fight its way back up, put my stop loss below this level, which I thought, yeah, it's possible I could get wicked out, and then it comes back up, which is what it looks like it was going to do right here. So I got out at 95, literally the low of this candle. It came all the way back up to 38.03, but then it actually would never return to that level and finished at new lows at the day as the market just tumbled into the close today. So good thing I got out there, and this was actually my greenest trade today, up 268 on this one, which tough to find a long on this stock today, but somehow I did. Okay, moving on. AMC, I had a good trade on this as well pretty early on. This one I just jumped into here. I liked this setup, how it was kind of consolidating around this level. And the daily chart, it's looking like, especially gapping up too, fairly bullish looking daily chart, maybe some continuation today. So as this came up here, we got a nice push to 930. I took some profit there, and some more profit up here, but then it kind of crashed back down, and I noticed the volume on it was diminishing, and I thought, uh-oh, this just looks like one that could just fade off and die. So I just got out of the position at 917, came down here to 910, but then bounced, and wow, a nice push there up to 980. And so yeah, I mean, I guess I left some on the table here as it consolidated and made a really nice push to 980. But I don't really regret getting out of this position because AMC just, and then it made this push, and then it did have that fade into the close. So, the AMC and GameStop right now, while they have potential to run, they also have that ability to just fade off and the volume dies, and they're not very good right now at holding those levels. They don't hold the levels. So what you see is a nice push to 980, but then by the end of the day, it's literally red on the day here at $9. So or close to red. So anyway, a nice trade here on AMC, $120. But wow, and look at this surge from 930 to 980 there. That nice 50 cents there. Oh well. So moving on, I had a trade on Riot somewhere in here. This was stupid. I mean, looking at it now, it clearly was weak on the day, but when you're looking at it just here, there's still a lot of day to go, and I was looking for this to make a higher low here and then continue, and the target was VWAP here up to 58. Tried it, stopped out on it straight away as it came down and made a new low here below this pivot. So just done with that one, moving on. But not a small hit there, $100. Well, it's all relative, but a small loss on that stock, but these things add up. So Palantir, I think I might have had some trades on this one early on. I'm looking, wow, I missed this one early to short it up here at $26. I feel confident that I could have done that. From 26.20 at the high to 23, it's that's a pretty lucrative short there, but of course you'd have to be in the trade all day. Yeah, so this is my biggest loser on the day, and it wasn't my biggest loser until this last trade right here, where I sized up to 2,000 shares, didn't stop out fast enough, and took a pretty big hit on that last trade. But early on here, I tried it long, cut the position for a small loss. Here, I tried it long again. It immediately went against me. All the way down to 24.50. I was down like 200 plus bucks on this trade at that point. I stuck with this one. I was for a period of time in Neo and in Palantir at the same time, and they were both kind of moving with the NASDAQ, and I was looking for the NASDAQ to gain strength and trying to get these ones to go. So at the same time that I was in this trade, I was also kind of, bear with me, in that Neo trade in this period of time. So I traded both of these kind of in that same period. And this one, I finally did get back up to my break even. Only managed to get a small piece out here, but as it rejected at VWAP again here, I just was like, all right, I got to get out. I took another tiny piece here, and then 400 shares. I got out as it crashed through here. It popped back up. I could have gotten 24.95 there, I suppose, but cut it at 78, which was good because, this one, wow, at least I wasn't in it for this, big drop here, full dollar. So, you got to cut the position at some point. So I got out of it for, I think I was down about 150, over 150 on the stock after all these trades here. But then right here before the close, just so, I mean, I want to say unnecessary, but I don't really regret the idea here. If the market moved, I wanted just to bounce on this into the close. I was looking at the market, and of course it's going to move with the market, with the NASDAQ in particular, but the NASDAQ was especially weak today. So finding those names, being long in this market is just so tough. Trying Neo, trying Palantir, trying AMC. it's just that you want him to go, but and so often you do get that bounce into the close, or at some point midday you get that reversal. Here it looked like maybe we were gonna come up and flip green on the day. I mean, the Nasdaq is still on the grand scheme of things very extended, so having a pullback day makes sense, but just kept waiting for that turnaround and waiting for a bid to come in, but we just never got that. And so Palantir and Neo just proved to be very difficult longs today. But this one, I don't really regret trading this one. I got in very high here as this candle came up, 23.94. So I got in really high. I was up on this 1,000 shares. I was up briefly on this, but it just chopped around in here. And as it came down here, and then this candle flipped green. I like this bottoming tail. And then this candle kind of continuing. I added to the position another 1,000 shares. So, that is a full-size position. That's a position where I'm into, I know that if I'm in 2,000 shares on a stock like this, I'm looking for a move here. And I really did. I really was. And, I don't size up to this kind of position size that often, but if I like the setup and I really want that move, sometimes you got to be in it to win big, and you got to be, not reckless with it, right? So you got to know when to cut your position, and when it's not going to work, it's not going to work. But it can be appropriate sometimes to size into a position where you can say, this setup looks good. I think this thing is going to go now. And on this one, I was really looking for, that surge up to 24.10, 24.15, 24.20. But we didn't get that. And it's like, I feel like every time I size up to a position like this and I'm looking for that move, that next leg higher, I just feel like it just never seems to work out. And of course, that's not a good way to think about things. It's not like, just because I size up to a full position, it's not going to work out. But, and then the second half of executing this trade properly is, if it's not going to work out, where are you going to cut the position? How are you going to manage risk? And that is the part where the frustration of the fact that it wasn't going to go led me to, bag hold it a little bit, more than I should have. So it dropped down here. I should have stopped out, below 88, I suppose. Popped up here, back up to 90 briefly, right back down, and then through to 72. Bouncing again here up to 85, but then as this candle came down, I said, Austin, it's not working, dude. You got to get out. So that's what I did on the next candle. I got out at 80 here on the next candle. So this trade right here, that's a 15-cent loss on 2,000 shares, which, I was about to pull the calculator up, but that's exactly a $300 loss, I believe. So, so that's a $300 loss. So before that trade, I was down really only $85 on the day. And then that trade added $300 of loss. So, just considering that I really did have a big position there and was looking for a big move, or not a big move, but I was looking for that next leg higher. And considering that I really had big share size there, and I did take the hit on it, I'm not too upset with a $385 loss today, just because I know for most of the day it was really a tough day to trade, and the Coinbase IPO was just super disappointing, terrible debut here. So I actually started watching this really late. I didn't notice this. I think I was making lunch or something. I don't know what I was doing exactly, but I missed the open on this. Usually I'm sitting there waiting for the IPO, and when it opens, I'm on it within usually, hopefully, the first minute or first 2 minutes. But this one I missed, and I started watching it somewhere in here, and I thought, well, I've missed this move. It's over. I don't care how high it goes. There's no way I'm buying at this point. So whoever did get in on it at that first minute, there was definitely a nice move here from 381 to 430. That's percentage wise, that's 12-13% on the stock. So that's the big move. It all depends on how many shares you want to take of it. But anyway, so there was a nice move there within the first 10-15 minutes. But then it did snap back to reality, and it was only a matter of time before something like this happened. If I could have shorted a stock like this, if for some reason, I had shares available to short, and I'm not just saying this because it went down. I'm saying this is an obvious short. I mean, really, like up to $425, that values the company at like, what, 120 billion or something? I mean, that's just ridiculous. So, I think already 100 billion for Coinbase. I just don't know, dude. I don't know. But anyway, so this, you can really see this coming. I put my bid at 405, and the reason I did that, I thought, well, I saw this candle coming down, and I was setting my bid. I was like scrolling around, deciding where to put my bid, because I knew this was coming. This pullback was coming, dude, like one way or another. And we've seen this happen. I think it was DoorDash or Airbnb that did like this literal exact same thing. 20 minutes of surge. I think it was DoorDash, like 20 minutes of like a huge surge, and then wham, and then all of a sudden just the hammer drops. And so that's exactly what I was anticipating. This looked exactly like the DoorDash IPO, or I think it was DoorDash. I think Airbnb might have done the same thing. I'm not exactly sure, but I really think DoorDash was that one that had that crazy surge and then right back down. So anyway, I set my bid, and I have to pat myself on the back for this bid, because I saw the candle starting to come down, and I was already setting the bid, and I thought, well, VWAP's here at around 407, or at the time it was even higher. I don't even know, but somewhere around here, and I thought, I think this one's going to be tricky, and I think the sell-off on this is going to be big. I think it's going to come through VWAP really hard, and there's only going to be a moment to get out. So I really want to set my bid actually under VWAP. I want to either get in on this right there at the bottom, or I don't want to get in at all. That is as opposed to setting your bid at like 410 above VWAP or 408 or anything like that. I put my bid in front of 405. So I got triggered in. It came down to 403. So pretty good. I caught the bottom of this candle. It popped up here, but I already sold. I was just scared because this one, for a moment, the beginning of this candle started out down here at 404, 403. So I was down like $50 on it, and I could just see it, man. I was like, dude, if this thing just like flushes, if this thing just rips down through VWAP, this could not, it may not recover, So it was just a scary position, and I was really going for that dip trade and that, pop back up, but I realized that it was so top heavy that there was a very real scenario of this thing just collapsing, which is what happened. But just before it did collapse, it did pop back up to 409. So at most on this one, I would have been up like $100. But I'm glad I got out break even. So because just literally moments after it flushed down to 394, which would have put me down $250 like that. So yeah, good to get out of the way of this one. And then I didn't really trade it ever. There was a really weird trade I had on this. You can see that I got out at $350 exactly right here. So I put an order to buy 20 shares in front of 350 just because I thought that could be a potential bounce spot. But I did realize that if we break 350, that could also be pretty severe. So while I got filled there in front of 350 at 350.02, which is exactly where I set my order, and then it bounced, at most $1 or $2. And I was up, at most like $50-$60 on the position for a moment in these candles. But then I set my order to sell. I put my stop, of course, right below 350 at 349.99. And this is something I don't understand, because my order was at 349.99 and it was a stop order. It was a stop market order. And I mean, there were so many buyers at $350. It was crazy. So I knew once that level goes, it's going to be hard to get out of the way. It's going to be hard, and there's going to be slippage. But I was ready for that. And when it did break 350, it broke down to 345 instantly. I mean, it was quick. And then this next candle down to 342, this thing collapsed. But what confuses me is my stop was at 349.99, which means I was gonna get out if it broke 350. But what I noticed was all of a sudden it was hanging out at 350, like up against those buyers, but the level hadn't broken yet. And all of a sudden I got filled at 350. It sold my shares at 350 when 349.99 hadn't even been touched. So I suspect it like broke that level for a split second or something, and then buyers came back in. I don't know what happened. I feel like that's improbable, but I guess I just got really lucky because I somehow got filled at 350 when my stop was at 349.99. So it doesn't really make sense to me. Still, I've never seen that happen. But literally 5 or 6 seconds after I got filled at 350, wham, it broke down. I was like, wow, I guess I just got really lucky, because within the next, really matter of seconds, it was down at 342. So on 20 shares, it's a decent, I wouldn't want to hold the shares. So, and then from there, it just continued lower down to 310. Really, I was looking for the move down to 300 where I would have dipped my toe in again, but it was bouncing here at, 310, came up, and then as it came back down, I thought, oh, look, it's going to make a new low, but I should have seen this coming, man. It's the double bottom. And once the bid starts coming in, it can rally, and that's what we saw. And there was a good spot to be a buyer here in front of 310 because there's a really simple stop, which is just below 310. And I would have taken a decent share size here in front of 310, but I didn't see the setup. I missed it, didn't work out. And then it rallied nicely back up to 345, and now back up at 345 again, despite pulling back a little bit before the close. So, I think this one it's going to be low volume from here on out. I mean, tomorrow maybe there could be a bounce on it. I mean, it's already bouncing a little bit, but honestly, I think this one has farther to drop. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, I think Coinbase is certainly not a $425 stock, but I really tend to be wrong on these kinds of things a lot. I mean, we were talking about the Dash IPO and Airbnb. Like, what are these stocks at now? So like 143. This one IPO'd, at like 180. It's chopped around a lot. Airbnb, where's this one at? So, this one's up. So, I don't know. To me, they seem overvalued, a lot of these IPOs, but despite being overvalued, the market can really do whatever it wants. So I could be totally wrong on this, and this one could bounce tomorrow up to $500. Totally. I don't know. I just don't suspect that tomorrow. I guess tomorrow it will have some volume, but quickly this one will become one that just lacks volume. But it will be a big mover, and it's here to stay. So I just wish that this IPO had been a little bit better. We had gotten more trade opportunities on it, because there really weren't many trade opportunities. What kind of opportunities are there when it drops from $430 down to $310? That's a $130 drop. $120 drop, and it's just unfortunate that it turned out that way. So that's it's a pretty big move to get back up there. We'll see. It should be fun to trade tomorrow, at least. If there's a good opportunity on it, then I'll definitely look to trade it. But these are fast movers. You got to be careful with your share size. I took, pretty medium size on this, honestly. 25 shares, 20 shares. I just tried it a couple times, and again, the spots I got in were spots where I kind of avoided disaster, really, if I hadn't have gotten out where I did. Quick pop on this, and I didn't even really get out at the pop. I got out here kind of toward the open of that candle. and then this one was just confusing. I don't even know how I got out of this one in time. So anyway, really there was only one good trade. There were really only two good trade opportunities on this, which was really right at the open of its trading, and then this double bottom at 310. But even that is a really tricky entry. I suppose you could get in anywhere on this candle and you'd be fine. But anyway, tough one, really tough one to trade. I hope you guys didn't get burned on this one, because this was just, there's a lot of like material here to get to bag hold. You know, this is a stock where you look at this and you just know that, you know, there's probably a lot of beginner traders out there that got totally scorched on this one today. I mean, really, if you bought shares really anywhere within the first 3 hours of this one's trading, or not 3 hours, 2 hours, hour and a half, then you'd be screwed. So hopefully you guys didn't get burned on this. Did you guys trade the Coinbase IPO? Let me know. Anyway, so we're 26 minutes into this recap. That's pretty much everything I've gone over. Down 384 today. Again, not too upsetting. Pretty small, normal size loss in the day to day. So these are just costs of doing business. I'll be back trading tomorrow, and I really hope we see some, something happening in the market. There's really nothing going on in small caps and these mid caps. Neo, Palantir, just really tough to find longs in them today, yeah, it's just tough out there right now. I think the market is, even though the market is just moving higher the last week or so, we're just not really seeing much activity in terms of small caps and momentum in mid caps either. Really, it's tough. Did I go over GameStop? I traded this one. Did I even go over this one? I don't think I went over this one. I traded this one today, and this was just really sloppy. Got in here, gave it to this low. It caught support here, rallied, came up to 170. Should have just gotten out of everything, but at this point, it looked like, it's GameStop, man. You got to be patient with it. And you gotta be able to see if this thing wants to make a new high above 174. And ultimately, it didn't do that. Came back down. I actually added to the position in front of support. Thought, well, let's see if I can catch a bounce back up to break even. Didn't get that, so cut the whole position here as it crashed down through and took a $150 hit on it. Not the end of the world, but again, these things add up. And anyway. So, alright guys, that's it from me today. Come on, leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed this video, and subscribe. I do these, recaps every single day, 5:40 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be back tomorrow, and again, we're hoping for better things. We're hoping for more action, because right now it's just really, the market is annoying, to say the least. It's annoying. That's how I would put it. Anyway, alright, that's it from me, guys. Alright, bye-bye.